Can they see? Oh, I haven't screen share. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. This is lesson 5. Am I correct? Lesson 5?
Yeah.
And the tasks that were set were about, the first one was about, do we need revelation or can we rely just on our senses, our intellect, our rationale, etc. Yeah. So regarding this, as you have already mentioned, your thoughts on that, I want to just share some things with you. Where we are in history. Is the mirroring? Good. So some timeline history we should have. So I was listening to somebody just briefly explaining this regarding where we are at the moment, pre-18th century. Yeah. So we find that roughly between this time frame, we find that all civilizations before the 18th century, consistently, yeah, they had one common element in them. They all believed in a metaphysical existence and being. Yeah, so metaphysical means beyond physicality, something that we cannot attain through our senses, our intellect. Yeah, metaphysical. They believed, because this is in our fitra, instinct, that there is definitely something else. In fact, what is that? What we cannot see and cannot access through our senses is actually more real than what we can. Yeah, so this was ingrained in every civilization. Of course, that took the right form when that instinct was followed, or it was rather channeled by revelation through the prophets and messengers. And it took the wrong form when it was channeled by people's own desire. So, for example, people felt, civilization felt that there is something greater and they must show it reverence, worship it, etc. So they started to create idols to try and allow them to focus on that greater whatever it is. So that was in absence of revelation of the messenger or prophet. That was their own desire. In fact, it was, you know, we studied the types of wahi. And then before that, we studied the different forms, or not the different forms, the different ways in which Quran mentions the word wahi. Can you remember any of that? Good. Do you know the ayah? إن الشياطين يوحون
وإن الشياطين ليوحون إلى أوليائهم ليجادلوكم فإن أطعتموهم فإنهم مشركون.
Okay. So shayateen and shaitan, he also casts doubt and he puts something in people's minds and hearts. Yeah, as we know, fi sudurin nas. He whispers in the heart, yeah, in the breast. So in the absence of people following guidance, they followed his guidance, his misguidance. Yuhuna. Ash-shayateen, yeah? Yuhun la yuhuna. And therefore, people started to worship this, that, and the other, the sun, the moon, etc. You know, everything above and under the sky, people have worshipped, yeah? So, but the common element was every civilization agreed that there is something metaphysical, okay? Then a shift took place after the 15th century. If we go up to the 18th century, we have something called the Renaissance. Renaissance, we say Ihya al-Ulum, Ihya al-Ulum, the rebirth or the birth of sciences and knowledge and discovery. Yep. But if you look at humanity at large, we then have something called the scientific revolution. And this is where as we know, the church as an institution and its custodians, if you like, or its leaders, they clash with scientists. And they persecute the scientists for being blasphemous. How dare you say something which goes against scripture? Yeah? And people are killed, burned, persecuted badly. You can't imagine even. That's why there is such a big push for freedom of speech now. Because there's a history when a people or humanity was deprived of saying what was obviously right and being persecuted for it and killed for it and burned for it. The reaction is now we want freedom of speech. But now what's happened is that it's gone, you see, Allah's guidance is Sirat al-Mustaqim, yeah? Is the perfect balance, the middle path. There is an extreme of, you can't say anything that contradicts clergy or the church or the authority. In reaction to that, there is an uprise that misses the mark because it's not guided by wahi, and it goes to the other extreme. Now, anything and everything is up for grabs. You can talk about everything and anything. Nothing is sacred. Nothing is, no, you don't go there. You can go everywhere and anywhere. So in the West, or even in this country as well, and the other European countries, and in the West at large, you have come across the caricatures, cartoon drawing of anybody and everybody, ridiculing them, and they say this is freedom of speech. You see so there are extremes. Similar with women's rights, you mentioned, had no rights. In fact, were not even considered to be human. Were in fact considered to be evil. Yeah, they would burn the witches. Okay, so there was an uprising against that injustice, but they missed the mark. They went to the other extreme, where now women are being essentially told that you are nothing unless you are equal to a man. Yeah, and that's just impossible because man is a different gender, women is a different gender. So why are you trying to equate the two which are different? You see that? So the scientific revolution came, and then there was of course, as I said, the clash between science and religion then, because religion then was not guided by revelation, it was guided by the people who claimed to have the custodianship of revelation. They said, we are the custodians of revelation. We will tell you what's right and wrong. We will read and interpret the scripture, whatever that scripture is. Yeah. After that, there was a Protestant Reformation. So they thought, all right, you know what? We got to reform our religion because it doesn't make sense. You see that? So we have to reform it. We have to align it with our modern thinking. So modernity starts, yeah? Modernity. So you heard of the word post-modernism, etc., pre-modernism, modernism. We have to appear and we have to be sensible. So science, as if now science is leading. The thing is that because religion, which was not based on the guidance of Allah, it was based on the scriptures and the understanding and the interpretation of people, yes, and of course it's very messy, it's political, it's etc. Yeah. Therefore, it didn't make sense as the human, which you can say the human, not human race, but probably the human race, or humanity as at large or as a whole was maturing. You know, like we go through phases. We are infants, then we are primary level, then we are secondary, then we go to post-secondary, then graduation. So the human race was slowly becoming more aware of its surroundings and thinking about things and questioning things, yeah, which is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. And because their religion, especially Christianity, had no answers for the questions. In fact, it was contradictory to what was being found. Therefore, there was, and it's natural and it's right to say that's wrong, that religion is wrong, that's wrong. So therefore, there was a very strong movement to go away from religion. And you know, that's right, to be honest. Why do you want to follow something that is nonsense, to be frank about it, yeah? And that's why majority of people today, in fact, I would say, I haven't got any statistics, but definitely a vast majority of humanity today, including Muslims, think that religion is just some hocus pocus, you just believe in it. And science is really what is strong. Yeah, this is ingrained because of this history that we're looking at very briefly. Anyway, after that came the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment period, where people now were enlightened. Yeah. So Quran mentions يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور. Yeah, Allah Ta'ala, He sent this Quran, He sent the messenger to take people out of darknesses into the light. So this is called the Enlightenment. Yeah, Enlightenment, you should say. Which is essentially, people are saying now, no, all of that religious stuff, hocus pocus, which it was, to be honest, is wrong. We now need to know what is reality, what is it all about. We need to live a life based on things that make sense to us. So because religion was not the religion of Allah, it was the religion of people, essentially. Religion, all of it, was thrown out. You know, they say that you've thrown the baby out with the bathwater or something like that. All of the religion per se was just rubbish. And now the only thing that can actually guide us is our rationale, our senses, our observation. We have to be empirical. Yeah, empiricism took place, or took its, you can say, root, and rationalism and empiricism. Rationalism is, does it make sense rationally? Empiricism, can we prove it? yes, through experimentation and repeating the experimentation, yeah, empirically. Now this sounds right, yeah? But then again, religion makes no sense, shifted, didn't catch the mark, went to the other extreme. That only things that we can understand rationally and empirically are true, there's no other reality. You see that? How we've shifted from the mark. So Sirat al-Mustaqim is to bring these extremes to a balance. And after that, we find there's the Industrial Revolution. Where now, because we have been able to see, there was a shift from humans being God-centric and metaphysical-centric as their core belief, and their objective in life was to attain this position in the afterlife or whatever they believed in, to now everything and anything is what we can see, touch, feel, and experience now. There's no such thing as hereafter because we cannot empirically prove it. You see that? The mindset has developed over centuries, this mindset. So when we as a human race were able to now harness nature, for example, we harnessed we harnessed water by making it into steam, and steam is a powerful agent, and so therefore we now have the steam engine. Yeah, you following this? Yeah? And now we can move a whole carriage of trains with a steam engine. Wow, phenomenon. We can speak to people across the Atlantic using a wired system, the telephone. You see all this development taking place. So, so human beings, we as humans, man is achieving these feats and becoming confident, rather overconfident. You see that? You know, when you achieve something, you have a goal, you achieve it, and you say, oh, that was easy. You become confident, don't you? Yeah? If you start making those advances in leaps and bounds, you become overconfident. You think, I can do everything and anything. So from the belief and conviction that the creator, the universal power, the whoever, Allah, etc., whatever they believed, is the only one who can do everything and anything, the belief is now shifting from the metaphysical to the physical. We can do anything and everything. You see that? We can achieve. Look what we achieved. And this is the mind of the atheist today. This is the mind of the humanist today. This is, in fact, the mind of the majority of humans today. You know, when you are delivered an inspirational, motivational speech by people at university, or before that, actually, sixth form and GCSE, they say, believe in yourself. You can achieve whatever you want. Isn't it? So they are saying, without saying it, before Allah was ala kulli shay'in qadir. You understand what that means? Ala kulli shay'in qadir. He is able to do everything that he wants. He's powerful over everything. The shift has been, you are ala kulli shay'in qadir. You can do whatever you want, whatever you dream, you can achieve. Very subtle, isn't it? But it's there. So this is how people have, as we have moved through history, things have changed. Then we have the French or the Democratic Revolution. So Industrial Revolution gave humans the tools to harness nature wind power, water, fire, coal, all of this, yeah? And mass produce things, economies of scale and all that. You should know the history of economics as economic students. You should study it. You should study it not because you have to have an exam on it. You should study it to know, for Islam. So now, with the Industrial Revolution, there is now there has always been, but now there is a new dimension to the struggle there is a new dimension to the power struggle in society. And the struggle is what? The struggle is the fight between capital and labor. Now you're familiar with this, I'm guessing, as economic students. Yeah? Capital and labor. So you have the capitalist owners of the industries that are exploiting the labor, yes? And there's a power struggle. So therefore now you have the introduction of unions. Unions, they have to represent the labor, because the industrialists or the capitalists, they want to exploit the labor. The labor want to get their rights, but now they want to exploit capitalists to say, if we want work, we'll strike. Yeah, we strike. So we will debase you now. We will uproot you because we want work. You got no money, nothing. So now there needs to be a compromise between the capitalist or the capital and the labor. Again, balance. Where's the balance? Yeah, what is Sirat al-Mustaqim in this? Yeah. So in this light, we see the history of mankind, and now so we see the veneration of a greater being shifted to the veneration of us. Yes, veneration of a greater being shifted to venerating ourselves. Look at me, look at us, look at how wow we, awesome. You hear this word? That's awesome. Yeah, awesome. This is very interesting. One of my students, a long time ago, he was Christian. He would say, don't use awesome for anybody but God. And he's right. Because only Allah, He is the one you should have awe for. So right, he was so correct. So veneration and awesomeness shifted from God to me. And then we have the concept of progression. We have progressed from a lower being to a higher being. We have evolved from a single cell, etc., to the ape, to the, I can't remember the other stages that they mentioned, and then Homo sapien. Yes. And now the next step that we are in at the moment is we are going from Homo sapien to Homo Deus. Homo Deus. So Homo Deus is Homo. So Homo means human, man. Deus means, Deus? Deus means God. From Homo sapien, we are now evolving. So you understand this, there's a whole philosophy behind this. Okay? The whole philosophy is not just scientific. It is a religion. That we are now becoming man gods. And this is very manifest. You'll be so surprised. that today we venerate ourselves by taking pictures of ourselves. Selfie. You know, selfie. This is self-veneration. Look at me. This is absolutely against our nature to want to be the focus of anybody's attention. It's against our nature. This is against our Dini tradition from Adam alayhi salam. Every prophet, messenger, he was awwab. Innahu awwab. Any little thing would happen, would turn back to Allah. Yes? Wouldn't want any self-gratification or glorification or attention. Would direct people to Allah Ta'ala's glorification and praise, hamd and tasbih. We are saying, look at me. Wow, we. Like me. Likes. Who likes? How many people liked my video, my picture, my cooking? You see this? Very deep rooted this is. This mobile phone is a big problem. Big problem. We don't realize how deeply rooted it is in perverting our real nature, our fitrah, and making it self-centered. iPhone, iPad, my, me. Huh? My channel. Anybody and everybody can speak whatever rubbish they want on YouTube and publish it, and the whole globe can listen to it. There's no authority, there's no vetting, there's no censorship, nothing. Because everybody's God. Allah Ta'ala mentions this, أَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَى. Have you seen the people or person who has made his desire I like to, I want to, I feel like, he's God. Meaning he's worshipping himself. I'm the most important. What I think is the most important thing. I have the right to speak. I have the right to be husband and wife, wife and wife, man and dog, dog and cat, whatever. I have the right. This is where us following just rational and senses is leading us. Because we are not following the wahi. Anyway, so this is a bit of history that I just came across recently from one of my beloved teachers.
In terms of the Muslim world, in all this period, what was the Muslim world? So the Muslim world was, of course, so this is talking about the West. The Muslim world was, because you see the forms of communication were not there at that time. So you could literally live in these bubbles. People were living in bubbles, if you like, just as we are now living in social media bubbles or our mobile phone bubble. So therefore, if you like, the exchange of ideas was not there as much. But then the time came, didn't it? Now my history is a bit weak. But the time came when then people used to go to Baghdad to learn. Yeah, and that was part of, I think, the Enlightenment, etc., in Spain, etc. But again, they took it to the other extreme, you see. They didn't follow Islam, they followed just the development, progress, that so-called progress, of material progress. So I'm not sure exactly where it all fits in, but this is just for us to know in this area we live in the West especially. And then there was the colonialism. That was a big problem that ruined the whole globe. Fasad fil ard. It was initially the physical enslavement of people but then it was the mental, ideological, which is until today. Yeah. Anyway, so what were we supposed to do? We doing Wahi. So what was the next question? Technical meaning of Wahi. So just quickly go through that, so we move on to the next section. What is it?
Speech of Allah revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Okay, good. You have in Arabic, Abdullah? كلام الله المنزل على نبي من أنبيائه. Yeah, you should write it next time, inshallah. Okay, third question was what? It was the forms, the different ways it's used in the Quran. So very quickly list as a sign. So like Zakaria alayhi salam, yeah? He gave, oh no, Yahya gave, no, Zakaria. Zakaria gave a sign language.
Yeah.
If you like. Okay. Okay, natural animal instincts as in the what? The bee, and in the Quran, what other animal mentioned? Ant, naml, ant. Yeah, it is also mentioned. Anyway, what else? From your extensive notes.
Oh, the Wahi.
We will start finding, our teacher in Pakistan used to find people who wouldn't pray Fajr. And then he would collect the money, and then after every month, we'll have samosa party with that money. So we'll have a jam and doner kebab party, I think. Something like that. All on Abdullah's. Yeah. So you want challenging questions? Huh? You don't do the basic work, you want challenging questions. Yeah, this is
they took all the challenging ones.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. So give me a simple answer.
I don't do that.
So it should be on your fingertips like this, yeah? Wahi, especially the Hafiz, should be very easy. So he mentioned the signs, he mentioned the instincts of the animals.
The guidance Allah said to the angels in the Quran.
Very good. So Allah Ta'ala, He has inspired the angels in the Battle of Badr.
Signals of justice to communicate.
He has mentioned already.
Human intuition.
Human intuition was the example. What was the example in the Quran?
Surah Maryam.
Mention it what?
Where she put the baby in the basket and had trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah, mother of Musa alayhi salam.
Oh,
Mother of Musa alayhi salam, yeah? Okay. What's the ayah, Abdullah? وإذ أوحى, isn't it? قصص, isn't it?
فأوحينا إلى أمه
أم موسى.
وأوحينا إلى أم موسى أن أرضعي.
There you go. أوحى. Anything else?
Natural laws of nature.
What does that mean? We're talking about which place in the Quran has been mentioned the word wahi and what it means differently.
Wahi or shaitan?
Yes. Shaitan has his own wahi, inspiration.
Inspiring decorative speech.
Yes. Zukhruful qawl. Zukhruful qawl. Very nice speech, Diversity. Very nice. Sounds lovely. Universality, humanity, freedom. Lovely. Zukhruful qawl. Shaitan. He's telling you to disobey Allah. Freedom. Freedom means disobey Allah and His Messenger. Basically, go to hell. That's what freedom means. Simple. But we are not taught this, and we don't read Quran, so therefore we are brought up in this environment and we think these people, they are fantastic, amazing. Zukhruf al-qawl. Zukhruf al-qawl. Zukhruf al-qawl. This is
الزخرف القول. Okay, moving on. What's next?
List of the various forms of wahi.
So what are the different forms that wahi has taken place? Let's just very quickly read this summary, very good summary given here on page number 72. Yeah, this is by Ibn al-Qayyim, rahimahullah. Ibn al-Qayyim. In Zad al-Ma'ad. You may have heard of the word, book Zad al-Ma'ad. In Zad al-Ma'ad, he has summarized the various types of wahi. Number one, true dreams of the Prophet ﷺ. Number two, the wahi from the angels directly to the heart of the Prophet ﷺ. Number three, the angel in human form. Number four, the ringing of a bell, like the ringing of a bell. Number five, angel in his original form, which we mentioned will happen twice. Number six, what Allah inspired to him directly in Isra wal Mi'raj. And another category he says is what Allah spoke to him directly, just like he spoke to Musa, which is Isra wal Mi'raj. Yeah, so this is just to quickly summarize. Okay? So you have a test on Thursday, yeah? On this, whatever we have studied, up to page 72, including page 72. I'm not going to include the difference between Hadith, Qudsi and Quran. Okay. Although we could if you agree to it. Okay, we're moving on now to the difference between Hadith, Qudsi and Quran. Yeah.
The last two, what's the difference between them?
Yes, there is not much difference between them really. So this is saying directly when he was in the skies, directly just like he spoke to Musa. It is the same really. Yeah, I'm not sure. There must be some difference which hasn't been elaborated in here. I think I read something in Zad al-Ma'ad about it. I think, I'm not sure. Eighth category, no, that's eighth category. I would say they're the same really, but there must be some difference that he has mentioned. Allahu alam. If maybe it's because maybe, Allahu alam, that if there's an opinion that the Sahaba, some of Sahaba, say that the Prophet saw Allah directly. Yeah. So that it could be that he's categorized into two categories. That one, he saw Allah directly. Number two, he received it directly, but it was from behind a curtain, a veil. Yeah. Allahu alam. But remind me, I'll ask Sheikh Hashim, inshallah, what's the difference? Okay. Difference between Quran and Hadith Qudsi. Hadith Qudsi. Okay, what's the definition of Hadith, first of all? We have to now know the definition of the word Hadith. Hadith linguistically means something new. Yeah? Muhdathin. In Surah Al-Anbiya, Muhdathin illa istama'uhu wa hum la yal'abun. It's Anbiya, Surah Al-Anbiya. Let's have a look. Surah Al-Anbiya. There we go. ما يأتيهم من ذكر من ربهم محدث. No mention or revelation comes to them anew. Muhdathin, new. We look at the root of this muhdathin. Hadatha. Something new, recent. A thing came into existence, began to be originated, had a beginning, existed newly for the first time, to relate, discourse, story,
report, narration, statement, a tale, etc., etc. Yeah. Technical definition of hadith. Technical definition of hadith. Anybody know what is hadith?
The speech, actions, and staying silent as well.
Saying, action, and taqreer. So this is qawl, fi'l, and taqreer. Taqreer is silent affirmation. Affirmation, you could say. The saying, actions, and the silent affirmations of the Prophet ﷺ, other than Quran. Other than the Quran. Although linguistically, Quran is hadith, ahsanul hadith, linguistically. Yeah, it is the speech of Allah, isn't it? It is the best speech of Allah. When you say the best speech is the speech of Allah, ahsanul hadith. This is in the Quran, in Surah Zumar. Ahsanul hadith. Absolutely. So the sayings, actions, and silent affirmations other than the Quran of the Prophet, these are hadith. Qawl, we understand the Prophet said this. He did this. But silent affirmation, any example that you can think of?
There was once when something to do with the Aisha, and something about washing the hair, and that she didn't wash all of the hair, she only washed the roots. The Prophet stayed silent, which was silent affirmation.
Okay. Okay.
It's from what I listened to recently.
Okay, good. Anything else? Something happened in front of the Prophet, he witnessed it, but he remained silent. His silence is acceptance that this is correct. Yeah, so there is the Khalid ibn Walid, tell us.
I don't know, he ate something.
He ate the lizard. Yeah, a kind of lizard. And Prophet, although he himself didn't eat it, but him being present there and not saying that don't eat it means that it is halal. Okay? So do you realize the authority of the messenger? And the responsibility of the messenger. Any situation a messenger is in, the messenger has to either say it's right or wrong. And if he remains silent, it means it's right. This is how the believer should be. Believer cannot be in a situation where something is wrong and he accepts it, because this is acceptance. And the three levels are, you say something, you can change something physically, or you speak against it, or at least in your heart you say this is wrong. And that is the weakest of Iman. Okay, so there are many types of hadith. Hadith, you should understand, is that there was a time, in the time of the Sahaba, where there was no need to ascertain whether this is hadith or not. Because all the people, they were trustworthy, yes? And they knew what the Prophet ﷺ had said, and essentially they were trustworthy. They were thiqa, it's called thiqa, trustworthy. But then a time started where people started to introduce and fabricate hadith. And the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the very famous hadith, Man kadhaba alayya muta'ammidan, whoever lies against me intentionally, فَلْيَتَبَوَّأُ مَقْعَدَهُ مِنَ النَّارِ, then the person should prepare his seat in the hellfire. Yes? Which means that to say something that the Prophet ﷺ said this or did this, etc., but it is not true, is a big, major sin and will lead the person to hellfire. Because the messenger, what the messenger says is inspiration. وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ. What he says is not his own saying. إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. It is inspiration, wahi from Allah. So Allah Ta'ala, He has preserved and He has protected the messengers from committing any major sins, and any mistake in the deen. If they make any mistake, Allah corrects them. It does not go unchecked. So therefore then the science of hadith, the ilm al-hadith, was initiated by the I can't remember exactly. Huh?
I had a question.
Yeah.
That whatever the Prophet ﷺ does, is that like an inspiration from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Whatever he does
Yeah.
in terms of the deen.
In terms of the deen. Okay, so in terms of, does he have free will to do what he wants, or is it
Yes.
an inspiration from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Yes, he has free will to do what he wants, but Allah has protected him from being able to sin. So, good question. So the Prophet said to the Sahaba that everyone has a shaitan. There's a shaitan in every person who tries to inspire him. Yeah? And the Sahaba asked hesitantly, you as well? And Prophet said, yes, but I have submitted it to the will of Allah. I made it Muslim. Meaning Allah Ta'ala, He has protected the prophets and messengers from following any evil desire or any inspiration from shaitan. They have it. You know, in Surah Yusuf, okay, hammat bihi wa hamma biha. Then Yusuf alayhi salam and the wife of Aziz, she entrapped him. And she intended, what she intended was to force herself on him. Allah Ta'ala says Yusuf could also have intended it, except that Allah, He protected him from that. You see that? So the prophets are human, they have inclination and want and desire, but Allah Ta'ala, He protects it from being influenced by shaitan. Does it make sense? So the question?
Is it all inspiration from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or does he have free will?
He has free will. He has free will, of course. But his will, he is protected from following any shurur min anfusina, any evil in the self. Allah has protected that from being the messengers.
But what about like some of the calls that, like some of the decisions that he makes?
Yes.
Is that his decisions, or is it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's?
So when it is regarding the deen, either the decision has been directly been given to him by wahi, or if he makes a decision, he makes ijtihad, and he makes a mistake, Allah will correct it. It will not remain uncorrected. So, Abasa wa tawalla. Ibn Maktoum, blind man came to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ was busy with the chief of the Quraysh. And so the Prophet ﷺ, he looked away. This is his ijtihad now, yeah? He made a decision that this person is more important at this point than this. He's Muslim Sahabi and he's blind. So let me look away and talk to him first. Because he's chief of Quraysh, he may become Muslim, all Quraysh will become Muslim. Yeah? Allah Ta'ala, he said, no, this is wrong. He says the Prophet, no, this is a mistake. You turned away from him. Yes? So when the Prophet makes ijtihad and it is not right, Allah Ta'ala corrects it. So therefore, whatever he has said, it is from Allah. You get it? Because he cannot make a mistake. But he has made it as a human on a very minor issue, but Allah has corrected it. And this is a guidance. Many benefits of that, and many wisdoms to show Allah is Allah and the messenger is still human. Yeah? Don't start worshipping the messenger like they worship Jesus. You see many benefits in that. Allahu Alam. So hadith, then the science of hadith took place to validate and to authenticate, is this saying of Rasulullah or not? Yeah, there was a fitna. And then this gave birth to the science of hadith, which is a very, very robust science. Yeah, it is the science of hadith. Our teacher used to say that it is as if you are cooking something and you cook it to the nth degree just before it would burn. That's how thorough it is, science of hadith. Makes sense? Yeah? So there is the knowledge of the rijal, the people who claim to narrate hadith. So there is an account of all the people who have ever said hadith, about their lineage, about their characteristic, about their trustworthiness, about their life, their death, their whole thing, to decide, is this reliable source or not? Ilmul Rijal, it is called. And the person who has any doubt about his character or her character, the hadith is then question marked. And then there is the gradation of a hadith. The top is the mutawatir, we mentioned before, yeah? And then there are other which come under the ahad, hadith ahad. They can be sahih, they can be hasan, they can be gharib, they can be da'if, they can be many categories. This is very in-depth science of hadith. Yeah. So we are looking just at the difference. Just want to introduce this to you, the concept of hadith and science of hadith, because it is very robust system of authenticating the hadith. And we should know that hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, this is wahi. Yeah? Which type of wahi? I gave you two types of wahi last time. Abdullah should know.
Jali, Khafi.
What Jali Khafi?
Khafi.
Khafi. What does it mean?
Like, not Quran.
Yeah, Allah. You studied Arabic and you are telling me
No,
this.
like Khafi is hidden.
Yes, thank you. Quran is the Jali, which is obvious. Khafi, hidden inspiration. And the other, I gave you another term as well. Jali, another term for Jali is, I mentioned many times in other durus. This is wahi matlu. 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 You should know this. Matlu. Matlu. Matlu means the one that is recited. Yeah? And then, which is the Quran. And ghair matlu is the one which is not recited, which is the hadith. Yeah, matlu, jali, and khafi is ghairi matlu. Khafi, hidden, meaning it is not in the Quran, it is other. And the Prophet ﷺ said that I have been given something other than the Quran, or I have been given the Quran and something like it, but other than it. Yeah? So hadith is the ghair matlu, meaning you cannot recite the hadith in salah. Yeah? It is saying of the Prophet ﷺ, but it is not al-Quran. So hadith Qudsi now. What is hadith Qudsi? Hadith Qudsi is the hadith which in which the Prophet ﷺ, he says, Allah said. Yes? So the wording and the meaning is from Allah. This is the best opinion. when you read the book, it will mention that there are two opinions. One is that the Hadith Qudsi is only in meaning from Allah, and its wording is not from Allah. But then he discusses it. Yasin Qadi discusses it briefly in the footnote to say that Hadith Qudsi is the Hadith which is the saying of Allah. So the wording is the speech of Allah, if you like, and its meaning is from Allah, of course. Because we said that Quran is the wording and meaning is from Allah. So in that respect, it is just like the Quran, if you know what I mean. It is not Quran, it is just like the Quran, because the Prophet ﷺ is saying, Allah said, and he then uses those words that Allah has said. Okay, so the example given here, just to on this page 72, it says a Hadith Qudsi is a Hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ narrates a statement from Allah. For example, the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah said, "O my servants, I have made injustice haram for me and have made it haram between you also. So do not be unjust to one another." Narrated in Muslim. So this is Sahih in Sahih Muslim. But the footnote on page 73, footnote 139, it then explains the first bullet point. Yeah. So the strongest opinion is that Hadith Qudsi is in wording it is from Allah, and of course in meaning from Allah. It is not the wording of the Prophet ﷺ himself. It is rather the verbatim what Allah said. Yeah. Okay. The other difference between Hadith Qudsi and Quran. Hadith Qudsi and Quran. Number 2, Quran is a miracle which is a challenge to mankind. Yeah. Hadith Qudsi is not of a miraculous nature in that respect, that it is a challenge to mankind to bring something like it.
For number 1, did you say it's word and meaning?
Yes.
But doesn't it say it's only in meaning?
Yeah, I said that, but the footnote.
Oh, it explains that.
Look at the footnote 139. Okay. That's why I said look at the footnote 139, in which he says that the stronger opinion is
the stronger opinion.
Wording and meaning. Because then he gives dalil for it, the Ash'ari, because this goes back to is it kalam of Allah or not? Yeah. So Hadith Qudsi is a miracle, is not a miracle in that it is a challenge to mankind, yeah, as the Quran is. The next is, you okay?
Yeah.
You okay? The next is that the Quran, Allah, He has promised to preserve it. Inna nahnu nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafidun. We have sent down this remembrance, reminder, Quran, dhikr, and we will guide it, we will protect it. Whereas the Hadith Qudsi has not been given this protection by Allah. Regarding its narration, Quran is mutawatir. We know that. And Hadith Qudsi, most of them, they're ahad. They're not mutawatir. They do not reach the status of mutawatir, most of them, ahad. Yeah. So Quran is mutawatir, has reached us through numerous transmissions in which there is no doubt, and there is no room for any collusion to try to collude and transmit. Fifth one is Quran is matlu and Hadith Qudsi is ghairi matlu. Yeah, it is recited in the prayer. To read an ayah of the Quran, it is in itself an act of worship. Yeah, and you recite it in the Quran, in the Salah, in the prayer, Quran. But a hadith, it is not in itself an act of worship. It is an act of worship if you are studying it to seek knowledge, and you cannot read a hadith Qudsi, although it is the speech of Allah in Salah. So to appreciate the difference between hadith Qudsi and Quran. Okay. The next thing we want to talk about briefly is the and then page 74, the last paragraph, it summarizes the difference. So it's worth reading. I'm just going to introduce the next chapter 4 to you. Chapter 4. Introduce it to you. The stages of revelation, the stages of the wahi, the revelation, the tanzil of the Quran, the inzal and tanzil of the Quran. First, we should know that the Quran was written in the Lawh al-Mahfuz. Lawh al-Mahfuz. Lawh al-Mahfuz. Mahfuz. This preserved tablet. Lawh al-Mahfuz. If we do that from the ayah, the Lawhim Mahfuzin, it is Lawhim Mahfuzin, in the ayah. Okay, so the sacred tablet, the preserved tablet, no, they're not sacred. The preserved tablet is where Allah, He has written everything. And we mentioned in the book that Allah Ta'ala, He created the pen and then He said to the pen, write everything. And He wrote everything. And of course, in that is the Quran as well. Lawhim Mahfuz. Then Allah Ta'ala, He, I'm using a keyword here now, inzal. Inzal. Nazala means for something to descend, to come down. Nazala, come down. You know, in Urdu we say nazla, we have a runny nose. Nazla, coming down. I don't know, have you ever something in your language?
Yeah, nothing close to that, but
No, khair, no problem. So, inzal also means, manzil. You heard this word, manzil? Manzil. Manzil is your destination where you get off your car. This nuzul in the Quran is your act of hosting your guest as soon as the guest gets off his car coming to your house. Nuzul. So the word nazala means something coming down, descend. Inzal means for something to come down completely in its entirety in one go. You need to understand the difference now between this and another word I'm going to tell you. So this is the all, in one go, inzal. All coming down in one go. So you have got, for example, the Quran in the Lawh al-Mahfuz, Allah Ta'ala in the night of Qadr, Laylatul Qadr, He sent down the Quran, all of it down to the lowest heaven, As-Sama ad-Dunya, lowest heaven, in a place called Baytul Izzah, the house of honor. All the Quran was sent down from Lawhil Mahfuz to the lowest heaven, Sama ad-Dunya, in one go, all together. Okay? Inna anzalnahu fi laylatin mubarakah. It is mentioned in this, where is it? Where is my thingy? I made a diagram here. Yes. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatin mubarakatin. Ad-Dukhan. Surah Ad-Dukhan, ayah 2. And let me show you the ayah. Here. Ad-Dukhan. Ad-Dukhan. Here we are. Ayah number 2. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatin mubarakatin. Inna kunna mundirin. Indeed, we sent it down during a blessed night, the night of decree. Anzalna here means inzal. Inzal means, what do you mean? What does inzal mean?
Send down in one go.
Send down all in one go, whole package. Yes? You know packet switching in network. No, you don't do IT. Okay, don't worry, forget it. So you can either download the whole package once, yeah? Whole file, you download it once, yeah? Or you download it bit by bit. So the next stage of the Quran being revealed is Tanzeel. Tanzeel. Tanzeel is the piecemeal, bit by bit. Bit by bit. Bit by bit. Piecemeal? Piecemeal, no? Say it, no? You're laughing at. You're laughing for. Ya Allah, look at this. What do you mean? What's funny?
This brother that we know. His name is Tanzil.
Oh, Tanzeel, mashallah. Tanzeel, yeah? Piecemeal, bit by bit. Quran has been revealed over 23 years. Tanzeelum min Rabbil Alameen. Tanzeelum min Rabbil Alameen. Many ayat to say that. Yes, give me one. So this we go to 26, surah number 26. Ash-Shu'ara 192. Ash-Shu'ara 192. وَإِنَّهُ لَتَنْزِيلُ إِنَّهُ أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وَإِنَّهُ لَتَنْزِيلُ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Indeed, it, the Quran, is the revelation. Tanzeel has been sent bit by bit. Yeah, Tanzeel here means bit by bit. Of the Lord of the worlds, نَزَلَ بِهِ الرُّوحُ الْأَمِينَ. The trustworthy Jibreel Islam brought it down. Ala qalbika, upon your heart. You see this? Okay. The Jibreel Islam, he brought it down to the Prophet ﷺ bit by bit over 23 years. So the 3 stages of revelation are: one is to the Lawh al-Mahfuz. Number 2, inzal, all in one go to the lowest heaven, Sama ad-Dunya, yeah? Sama means
Sky or heaven. Dunya means lowest. Dunya means the lowest, cheapest, worthless thing in Arabic. Dana, adna means, adna, dunya means the thing that is the lowest in value, but it is the closest to you. You are in reach of it. This is dunya. If we understand just this word dunya and what it means, we wouldn't care about the dunya. Because it's the cheapest, lowest brand. Yes? And it is immediate, right in front of you. So when you know that, you know dunya is nothing. Because it means nothing. In the tajweed, there is adna halaq, aqsa halaq, awsata halaq. You study this? The three parts of your throat, yeah? The closer to you is adna. Closer to your tongue, adna, which is the closest. Awsat, wasat, middle, aqsa, far away. Masjid al-Aqsa, far away from Makkah. Yeah? So khair, inshallah, we will stop with that. We introduced those three concepts to you now. So inshallah, on Thursday you'll have a test. You want to include the Hadith Qudsi or not? That's up to you. Let me just stop the recording. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.